I rode motorcycles for years thinking I had it figured out. No crashes, no close calls worth talking about, just miles, confidence, and that quiet feeling of, yeah, I've got this. And that's exactly what almost got me killed. Because it wasn't speed, it wasn't some crazy stunt, it wasn't even another driver doing something unpredictable. It was one habit, a habit I practiced every single ride without thinking about it. And once I started really paying attention, I realized it wasn't just one habit. There were seven of them. Seven things I did for years that felt harmless, normal, even smart, but slowly stacked the odds against me every time I swung a leg over the bike. If you've been riding for a while, this video is going to hit close to home. And if you're newer, this might save you from learning the hard way. I'm Matthew, this is Autozium, and this is the video I wish I'd watched years ago. Let's get into it. Habit 1. Riding on autopilot. Autopilot feels like mastery. Your hands know the controls. Your body knows the balance. Your throttle inputs are smooth. You're not jerky, not nervous, not making rookie mistakes. From the outside, it looks like confident riding. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Autopilot isn't sloppy riding. It's unchecked riding. When you've been riding for years, your brain starts conserving energy. It recognizes patterns. Same road, same turns, same lights, same traffic rhythms. And it slowly shifts riding from a conscious activity into a background task. Your eyes are open, but they're not searching. Your head is up, but it's not questioning. You're riding from memory instead of awareness. I didn't realize how deep this went until the ride that almost ended me. Nothing felt rushed. Nothing felt wrong. I wasn't distracted by my phone or doing anything obviously stupid. I was just mentally elsewhere. That's the danger. Autopilot steals microseconds. And on a motorcycle, microseconds are everything. It's the difference between seeing a car begin to creep forward and noticing it after it's already in your lane. It's the difference between rolling off early and panic braking late. It's the difference between options and consequences. The scariest part is that autopilot feels safe. It feels calm. It feels efficient. You stop feeling that edge of alertness you had as a newer rider, and you assume that means you've improved. But what you've actually lost is intentional presence. Every crash story I've heard that starts with, I don't know what happened, usually traces back to autopilot. Not recklessness, not speed, just a moment where the rider wasn't fully there. Experience should sharpen awareness, not replace it. If your rides feel forgettable, if you can't recall specific details afterward, if you arrive places without remembering how you got there, that's a warning sign. Riding deserves your full attention every single time. The road doesn't care how familiar it feels. Habit 2. Trusting other drivers, just a little too much. No experienced rider truly trusts drivers. We all know better than that. But what happens over time is more subtle and more dangerous. You start making small assumptions. You assume the car slowing down sees you. You assume the driver waiting at the intersection understands your speed. You assume eye contact means comprehension, not full trust. Just enough. And that just enough is where things go wrong. I did this constantly without realizing it, especially in situations that felt routine. A car pauses at a side street. A driver hesitates. A vehicle rolls slightly forward and then stops. Your brain fills in the gap. They see me. And most of the time, you're right. Until the one time you're not. Motorcycling doesn't allow room for assumption, because when you assume, you stop preparing for the alternative. You stop adjusting speed. You stop covering the brakes. That you stop positioning for escape. And when that driver does the unexpected, turns late, pulls out, changes lanes, you're reacting instead of avoiding. That's when riders say things like, I don't know why they did that, or they looked right at me. But drivers don't hit riders because they're evil. They hit riders because humans are terrible at perceiving motorcycles. Size, speed, distance, it all gets misjudged. Right of way doesn't protect you. Visibility doesn't guarantee safety. Eye contact doesn't equal understanding. The safest assumption you can make on a motorcycle is that every driver is confused, distracted, or about to make a mistake. That mindset doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you prepared. Trust has no place in traffic. Only positioning, space, and options do. Habit 3. Riding at a pace that feels safe, Instead of riding with margin, this is where experienced riders quietly paint themselves into corners. Sometimes literally, you're not riding fast, you're not pushing, you're not doing anything that feels risky. You're riding at a pace that feels comfortable, and comfort becomes the ceiling. The problem is that comfort adapts. As your skill improves, your comfort zone expands. You lean a little more, brake a little later, carry a little more speed. Nothing dramatic, just incremental. Until one day, your comfortable pace leaves no room for surprise. That's what happened to me. The ride that almost ended everything wasn't aggressive. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was riding exactly how I always rode, smooth, flowing, familiar. But when something changed unexpectedly, I realized I had no buffer left, no extra space, no extra time, no extra traction. Margin isn't about riding slow, it's about riding prepared. Margin means leaving space even when you don't think you need it. Margin means slowing slightly earlier than required. Margin means riding like the unexpected is still possible. Experienced riders often abandon margin because nothing bad has happened yet, and every uneventful ride reinforces the idea that the pace is fine, until the day it isn't. Margin feels boring. Margin feels conservative. Margin feels unnecessary, right up until it saves you. Comfort isn't safety. Options are. Habit 4, getting lazy with positioning. When you're new, positioning is everything. You think about lane placement constantly. You worry about visibility. You choose lines deliberately. You adjust your head, your body, your posture. Over time, that attention fades. Not because you get worse, but because nothing bad happens. You default to center lane. You sit upright out of habit. You look straight ahead instead of far through situations. You stop actively choosing position and start accepting it. I didn't notice how lazy I'd gotten until I needed positioning the most. When things went sideways, I realized I had put myself in the worst possible place without ever consciously deciding to. Positioning isn't about style, it's about leverage. Where you sit in the lane determines what you can see and who can see you. Where your head is determines where the bike goes. Where your body is determines how easily the bike responds. Default positioning removes flexibility, and flexibility is survival. The trap is that lazy positioning doesn't punish you immediately. It waits. It builds confidence while quietly reducing your options. Good habits fade when they're not tested. That doesn't mean they weren't important. It means you were lucky. Intentional positioning is a skill you either practice or lose. Habit 5, ignoring small warning signs. This habit is dangerous because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like toughness, experience, confidence, a small wobble at low speed, a weird moment mid corner, a flash of tension in traffic. A near miss you laugh off and tell yourself, that was nothing. I ignored all of those for years because none of them caused a crash. None of them left a mark. None of them forced me to stop riding that day. So my brain filed them away as irrelevant. That's how warning signs work. They don't announce themselves like emergencies. They whisper, and experienced riders are especially good at ignoring whispers. When you've been riding a long time, you normalize things that would have scared you as a beginner. You stop asking why something felt sketchy. You stop replaying moments that made your stomach tighten. You tell yourself, roads are imperfect, traffic is unpredictable, happens to everyone. And sometimes that's true. But here's what I learned the hard way. Your body notices danger before your ego does. That subtle tension in your shoulders, information. That moment your eyes locked up, information. That instinctive roll off you couldn't explain, information. Ignoring warning signs doesn't make you calm. It makes you disconnected. The ride that almost ended me didn't feel dangerous until suddenly it did. Looking back, the signs were there earlier. Small, quiet signals I brushed aside because nothing bad had happened yet. Motorcycling doesn't usually punish you for one big mistake. It punishes you for ignoring a series of small ones. Every close call is a data point. Every uneasy moment is feedback. The riders who stay upright the longest aren't the toughest. They're the most curious. They ask why something felt wrong. They adjust before the lesson gets louder. Because eventually, it always gets louder. Habit 6, practicing less as you gain experience. This one is humbling. When I was newer, I practiced constantly. Parking lots, slow speed turns, emergency braking, figure eights, swerves. I trained because I knew I needed to. Then something changed. I started riding more and practicing less because riding felt like practice. And that's the lie experienced riders tell themselves. Riding maintains skill, practice sharpens it. They are not the same thing. Riding reinforces what you already do well. Practice exposes what you don't. And once you've been riding for years without crashing, you stop wanting to expose your weaknesses. You assume they're gone. They aren't. Emergency skills fade quietly. Muscle memory dulls. Reaction timing stretches just enough that you don't notice until you need it under pressure. I realized this the first time I deliberately practiced emergency braking after years of not doing it. It was ugly. My stops were longer than I expected. My inputs weren't as clean. My confidence was based on memory, not reality. That was uncomfortable and necessary. Experience gives you familiarity. Practice gives you precision. Without practice, your riding becomes dependent on conditions being forgiving. Dry roads, predictable traffic, normal situations. But emergencies don't care how long you've been riding. The skills you don't rehearse are the ones that fail first when adrenaline hits. Practicing isn't about proving you're good. It's about making sure you're ready. And the longer you ride, the more intentional practice matters, because complacency grows faster than skill. Habit 7. Riding tired. This is the one that almost ended everything for me. Not drunk, not reckless, not exhausted, just tired. A little slow, a little foggy, a little off. The most dangerous rides aren't the ones where you feel terrible. They're the ones where you feel good enough. I told myself I was fine. I'd ridden tired before. I'd handled worse days. I trusted my experience to cover the gap. But fatigue doesn't announce itself dramatically. It erodes the edges. Reaction time stretches. Decision making softens. Risk assessment blurs. You don't miss everything. You miss one thing. And on a motorcycle, one missed moment is enough. The ride that almost killed me wasn't dramatic. No chaos, no obvious mistake, just a delayed reaction when something changed unexpectedly. By the time my brain caught up, my options were already gone. That's what tired riding does. It steals margin quietly. And the most dangerous part is how convincing the internal voice is. You've done harder rides. You're experienced. You'll be fine. Fatigue doesn't care how skilled you are. It levels everyone. Now, I take tired riding seriously. If my head isn't right, I slow the ride down, or I don't ride at all. Not because I'm scared, because I'm honest. Riding demands presence, not perfection. Presence. Experience doesn't protect you from fatigue. It just makes you better at ignoring it. And ignoring it is how close calls turn into regrets. If you've been riding for years and nothing bad has happened, that's not proof you're doing everything right. It's just proof you've been lucky so far. And luck runs out quietly. If this video hit close to home, that's a good thing. Awareness is where safer riding starts. If you want more honest conversations about riding, not hype, not ego, just real experience, subscribe to Autozium. Ride smart, ride present, and don't wait for a close call to change your habit.